Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome, guys. Make sure you subscribe to all three channels with that little bell clicked, and hopefully we'll get some notifications. We want to thank everybody for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. And do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com where you can learn more about us. And we are going to share with you something extremely informal that is what we do often. And we just usually will give you guys info. Sometimes Cindy does go full under trance channel, and we've shared that at times. Other times she's connected but not fully under. And sometimes she's doing more of what we would call remote viewing. This was more of a remote viewing session that we had. And we were doing it last night with the idea of just, again, let's get more information about 2055 and the star children that we connected with in 2055. Because they haven't called back. They haven't rang back. And it's like, wow, what happened, guys? You were going to share more with us. And, we didn't get any more info from them. So instead of waiting for them, we reached out to them. And I just thought it was really cool to share with you guys, how we do this. And again, sometimes it's full on middle of the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and Cindy's sound asleep and somebody jumps into her body and starts to talk, and it's like picking up a phone. It's like Cindy's a phone, so to speak, and they'll just start sharing. Now, it's not just anybody that can jump in because we do have help on the higher densities that keep dark beings away from coming in, and they can't really stand our energy much in the first place anyway. This is why we've been able to clear thousands of beings from thousands of different people of a dark nature. And then, the remote viewing part of it is really pretty fun and pretty cool. And so you'll get a little glimpse of that. And again, I wasn't intending on sharing the actual verbal live feed as it goes, but it's been a while since we've done anything like that, and there's just so much I didn't want to try to recapitulate and miss something.
Yeah, I mean, just best just to give it to you guys because it turned out well, and it's just something that's definitely worth sharing. It's very curious information anyhow, the way we go about it, the way we decide to tunnel in and get the information is curious in and of itself. And then once you have that connection, the information just starts to flow. And it's like following a kind of it's like following a trail, it's like following a visual trail, mental, emotional trail that goes on and on and on, and you just keep going. So, the back and forth conversation, and our puppies are really excited. They get kind of weird whenever we channel as well. Sometimes on videos, if we're doing this stuff, they just totally misbehave. Like Miss Sita is not gonna go. She's just not going outside. So yeah, sometimes we just have to. Well, we just have to put him in the bedroom and make him do some time out. So just you guys are getting a lot of live information right now. and then the recording too. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, so it was Sassy bossing around the Dobermans, and she does. She's 12 pounds, but she literally jumps up in the air off of her hind legs and nips at them, and they just cower to her. Just because it's their mama. I mean, that's who raised them, and they respect her. So it's kind of cool to see. Yeah. So yes, we are going to share this with you guys again. We're looking for them, the kids that came and reached us from 2055, and did share some really fascinating info. And this time we got a lot of stuff looking for them. And seeing the environment and seeing some, people that are in the news today big time. What's going to be up with them in 2025? What's going to be happening with the Elon Musks, the Bill Gates, 45 and 46 and HRC, etc.? Well, we're remote viewing, and it is certainly an interesting mixed bag, to say the least. And without further ado, I will give you this. So you see one boy and one girl, and this is from the group that we spoke to before. The 2055 star children is what they are.
These are the energies that reached out to me that I'm following back. So it's like tracing a IP backwards to find their information.
How old do they appear to be?
Gosh, 14, 15, 16. They look very young. I would say probably more like 16, maybe. Mature, but very young.
And can you give features like hair color, build, etc.? What are they wearing?
Well, they do look to be in a little bit cold, like they're kind of dressed warm right now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bright sun. And looking at the trees that they're looking at, they have leaves on them. So I'm not sure what kind of year, if it's maybe early in the morning in a springtime. But it's like there is no judgment per se. The type of judgment that is practiced mostly is whatever part of nature you're in charge of, how that looks reflects directly on you. So there's no human to human judgment. It's like they've gone past that point. They can visually see if there's an imbalance with one's area. That means there's an imbalance with them, and that's where an elder will step in.
And so if you describe this boy and this girl, now you said they're wearing warmer clothes. Are they wearing our modern clothes? Are they wearing, it looks like mass-produced jackets and shirts and things like that? Or are they wearing something that looks much more tribal?
Well, they look it could be like, it could be heavy clothes. The material on the coats, it looks dark, so it could be leather. Maybe it's leather of some kind. Maybe it's a different material. Maybe by now they're able to harvest material through plants and actually use them. I know there's so many different ways to make material. That's really, people would know how to do it from sheep's clothing, but the material is black and it looks a little bumpy. So I can't tell you exactly what material it is, though.
And so they look to be about 16-ish, and one boy, one girl. And are we, again, looking before, they had described originally that they were somewhere in the New York area, right?
They were in a high-rise that they weren't supposed to be in, but they wanted to get away and experiment and try to reach back. What I'm picking up now is that they were taught by their elders how to time travel and how to make changes in the universe and move back and forth in time. So really for them, they were getting away. They weren't necessarily supposed to be contacting. But it was an experiment, and they were very proud of themselves. So maybe because they weren't supposed to, maybe that's why they're not deliberately reaching out again, because they could make changes, sort of.
Interesting. So where you see them now, do you see any signs of any structures?
Not right now. I see it looks kind of mountain-esque where they're at. The ground looks firm, like it could be rocky. It does seem to be a bit on the cold side, but I'm going to guess the sun is so bright this is the early springtime that I'm picking them up right now. There are animals around. There's domestic looking dogs around. Sheep, goats, there's chickens. Sheep are big. Sheep are big. What else? They do have domestic pets. They try to bring balance as much as possible when it comes to animals. They keep certain males, females, so they're very deliberate in pairing their animals. Like if they need more goats, then they pull a billy goat and he'll go with the other goats and they'll make babies. So they're very careful. They don't just let their animals are not, put together. They're very careful when it comes to their animals and who they breed with. It feels like I'm picking up like a little externally that there was something that happened to animals at one point that made them lethal and toxic to each other. So these animals feel like, people might call them heirloom animals, animals that haven't been infected. So they're very careful with their animals.
Mm. So perhaps something was introduced that wiped out a lot of animals, and some of the survivors were tainted, per se.
That's what it feels like when I feel out into the what happened part of the layers of information. Because I have a lot of training in that. I feel out into the layers of information, and this feels like back in history, at some point, yes, the animals were infected. So that would mean we're probably going to face something like that.
Mm. So you're still looking at these kids per se around 2055. That's 30 and a half years away from where we are now. So something, again, we've touched on that. We've touched on the other prophecies looking forward,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of give you that hint. And then we understand what's being done with, farm animals and all sorts of animals that we rely on the food supply chain too. So, it could be related to that.
Very, very much related to that, I'm sure. The actions that they do daily, these children are very, what's the word, structured. They're very structured. They're good. Their soul is, they're taught how to take care of mind, body, soul. So these children are very calm. They're very good children, but still they're children. And that's why they contacted us, because they're going to do what kids are going to do. And it seems that's why they haven't been back, because they knew they weren't supposed to. But now that they have tunneled in, I can tunnel out so I can at least reach them. So that's good. I love how calm the people are. There's not a lot of chaos. When I look around, it seems like they are high up, like a little bit higher in elevation. This particular group of beings, whatever clothes that they're wearing are very extremely durable. I'm not sure how they're made, but they're just a little bit kind of thick and bumpy. Not sure what to make of that. I haven't seen material like that. Hats look crocheted, so it looks like some of these things that we do now to make clothes are carried on. They're probably crocheted hats and gloves and things of that nature, but they also know how to get the wool from the sheep. Horsehair, you take braided horsehair from the tail, and you can make ropes with that. There's a lot of tools you can make from clipping your horse's tail. They utilize every part of everything. There does seem to be a different species of humans that is guiding them from time to time that I see in the background. they're not extremely invasive, but they're involved just enough to help the I hear they're called new humans, how to adapt and adjust to the land. So it's more than just the elders guiding. There's a whole nother type of species of being that's guiding them.
Where did the species come from?
I don't know. I would want to say that they're not from here, but they know how to adapt to here. So they know about Earth, but they're in the background. They're not deliberately involved with the new humans.
Yeah, so obviously these would not be Anunnaki. These would not be the giants that we've seen in the smart cities and start in 2035. Can you describe these beings? Can you see into them? Are they blue skinned? Are they more like the Krishna beings? Or
they're actually surprisingly small to me. They're small. The skin looks Caucasian. It doesn't look like there's any weird colors. But the thing is these other beings, they're very, very tribe-like, but they're also very sophisticated when it comes to the stars. They understand the stars. I don't see these other ones wearing any clothes. It's kind of embarrassing because I don't see them wearing clothes, and I see them standing back away from the new humans, but intervening during times of stress to try to show them to get along. So it's like this other species has come and realized that humans are breaking away or wanting to break away, and they're coming to assist. So they're different. They're Caucasian. I don't see any clothes, so I'm not sure what to think about that.
Any color hair?
It's just brown as far as what I can tell. It's straight and it's brown. It's dark color hair. Eyes are coming in different colors, so I can see eyes that are actually almost like they change color eyes, because they're showing me kind of rapid succession of brown, of blue, of green. So these beings seem like they can transform somewhat.
And when you say smaller, how much smaller do you see them compared to the normal humans?
I would say they're no more than 4 feet tall. They're small, and they're very efficient. I want to say that's the key word, is efficient, and that's what they're trying to teach humans to be. They are helping them be in their environment and make their bodies very efficient as well.
And proportionate? They look proportionate, not like extra large heads or anything like that?
No, I'm not seeing that they have extra large heads. The most unusual aspect about them is their eyes change color. They're quiet, they're silent, so they do not speak. They only speak telepathically. So it's like they're showing these new humans how to communicate telepathically. They're showing them how to communicate with the animals, like we do now, but way, way better. So they're teaching them very subtle forms of body language and how to speak with their mind and use their heart chakras for channeling information. Also, they're teaching them the trees and the plants and the ground that they are connected with, as that speaks directly to how healthy their heart chakras are, because they actually run energy on these trees and plants that they utilize from hold on. Anything that they utilize from the trees and the plants are definitely given from the plants. So it's a very they're teaching them about a symbiotic relationship with the earth. And these beings feel very ancient, like they've been around a while, and they have gone from planet to planet to planet. I do feel they can easily adapt to many other areas that are like Earth. They're like Earth. So these are star beings that are standing on the outsides that are helping to nurture humans into even more of a silver age and eventually gold.
But these are embodied similarly to us.
They are. And that feels very deliberate as well, to not freak anyone out or scare anyone, because there's trauma tied to that. There does seem to be some sort of alien trauma that was done to humans. And then these parts that did break away are dealing with that. So these beings are coming... by being small and by being similar, they're not traumatizing any humans.
It's brilliant.
Yes, they are brilliant, and there's so much that we can learn from them too.
So you said humans were traumatized by aliens. Now, is this in our future?
I think it's in our future, in our timeline. There's going to be some type of alien trauma. I really feel strongly more, though, it's toward the machines. So anything that's mechanical, anything that's that has AI, anything with mechanical parts is really going to be, it's not going to bode well with us. I think there's going to be something about the machines that harms us.
And with these more advanced beings being on the planet, you still see some of the Anunnaki giants still on the planet in the cities as well.
The giants I see, I guess these got to be the cell cities. I keep hearing they're called cell cities. I'm wondering if it's not some type of atmosphere they need to hold on to, because these beings do look quite a lot bigger. I mean, noticeably bigger, but not like giants, but noticeably bigger. So I do think they have to keep a certain atmospheric pressure. Maybe that's why they call them cell cities. I can't be sure.
Do you see these cell cities being so totally enclosed? They have like an enclosed atmosphere.
They do. They have domes. So it seems like it's very controlled. Who goes in and out. There are like ways to get in and out through the dome, but it doesn't seem like regular humans have access to that unless they're of a much higher level to be trusted. Yeah.
When you look at the giants, what do they look like? What color's their hair and skin?
They're like the ones that I can see right now. They're very white. They're very, very white, which I don't like. There's just something about their white skin that seems very dead. There's something about their energy that seems very dead, even though they're alive. They're very strict. They're very cold. But they need to keep these cell cities running because they need human energy, but I don't want to scare people. I really don't.
So they sound vampire-ish.
Mm-hmm. And they're big. Yeah, to me it feels vampires, they have a very dead, cold feeling too. Anything of that nature is going to feel dead because it's like the undead, right? So if these die again, they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere.
So what color eyes do you see?
Like kind of a real bright blue with these ones. They're a bright blue, beanie blue. I wouldn't say they're bright blue. Maybe they're almost like
blue-gray.
White, blue-gray, steely. Yeah, it strikes you as different. So in that sense, since they are like a steely color, it might be like bright to you. But
and hair color?
Hair color looks white. It looks white as well. They wear like clothes, so it seems like they have on clothes like armor, almost like armor of some kind. But I think it has something to do with the atmosphere and covering their skin.
So, do you remember Prometheus? I mean, do they... No, you don't.
I never watched Prometheus.
I showed you Prometheus. You don't remember it.
Mm-mm.
But they don't look big and muscular? Do they look tall and angular?
They're more tall and angular. Yeah, they don't look big and beefy at all. It seems like it doesn't take a whole lot to keep these ones alive. You know, whatever keeps them alive is, well, I couldn't tell you because they feel so dead to me.
And how many do you see on the planet? Do you see a lot?
I think I see one per cell city, like 1 leader per cell city. Now, there's probably a few behind that. I'm sure that there is, but right now I'm only allowed to see one, and I'm sure there's reasons for that too.
And how many of these cell cities do you see? If you back yourself out and start looking at the entirety of the planet, do you see them more in any continent than other continents?
No, I mean, I think there's quite a few, and I couldn't give you an exact number, what quite a few is, but it seems like they do spring up around the planet and are, I can't really count them. I can't count them, I'm sorry.
If you see the United States, that's what you're the most familiar with, do you see them located on just coastal areas, or do you see them in the middle, or where do you see them?
Well, they're speckled around the United States. You know, I gotta say, it looks like there's 1 or 2 in Texas, but I couldn't tell you exactly where in Texas. Like, if I try to zoom in, I can't really zoom in. It's almost like a fuzzy blur, but it seems like it's in Texas. I want to say upwards towards Canada. There might be a few up there. It seems like there's more on the West Coast. I'm not picking up a lot over in the southern type areas. I'm picking up more lush green stuff, but that's got me wondering because I know Gates owns a lot over there too. So
Yeah, but I mean, this is, again, 30 years forward, so yeah, that would be an interesting thing to see. Okay, let me put that out there. Is Gil Bates, as we call him, still on the planet?
He's one of those undead, so he's going to be an undead. He won't be perceived as human any longer.
How about Klaus?
Klaus, what's that other one that's really gross? It's like feels like Klaus, I don't know, he might not make it. There are certain things and processes that they have to do to become undead, and I'm not really picking up that Klaus is going to make it through. So he might actually die, as well as Soros might actually die, but Gates, he's an undead, and that's what they'll be called.
How about Elon?
I think it looks like he'll make it too. Yeah.
So you see him as one of the undead?
I see him as an undead. Not only that, he's also going to have clones. So there'll be clones of Elon, which is really creepy in and of itself. But it looks like he's probably going to be one of the very first to announce and admit, here's my clone.
What? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me put this out there. Do you see 46, JB, or any of those? Because we've already stated that he has actually been gone from the earth for a while, the original.
Seems like totally phased out. Like his fire completely burns out. Feels like there might be something going on with Hillary Clinton. She might make it as far as becoming an undead, possibly, but it doesn't look real good for her. Who else? I think I'm losing that connection.
How about 45?
He's of a different caliber. Now, we all know that the control structure is a control structure. But if you're going to be in any control structure, he has something about human beings being better able to express themselves. So he's still trying to choose a better path
for humans, but he's still going to be one that controls.
So, but he's still physically on Earth even 30 years from now, because that would push him over 100, I believe, or around 100.
I see him. Now, I don't think he's an undead, though, but I see him. I think there's some experiments with aging technology that is going on, and some people are going to try it and they'll make it, and some people won't. And I don't think he went to be one of the undead. I think he is just working on more of a natural process. He's not going to live forever. He's not an immortal, but he's going to probably live for a while.
But yeah, see, the reality is immortal in their terms really means that you're trading the normal progression of an eternal soul for the flesh.
Right.
That at some point in time is going to give away.
Right. And to them, that's the way to go. But then you just end up all machinery. And I think that's why when I see them die, I don't see anything after they die.
Fascinating stuff. Anything else you want to add?
No, not right now. Thanks.
So that was it, and thanks for your patience with Rama crying and, all the noise in the background and everything. Again, we weren't going to originally show and share the entirety of that, but just felt there was too much to cover.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that just felt like we should share. So now you guys know our poor baby Rama, he doesn't like to be away from us.
No, he doesn't. He has to, be in the same room. That's just the way he is. So as you know, so much was covered in there, and dome cities are a reality. In fact, they're already building them out in the desert in the Middle East. This is part of that next stage, because the next stage is the reintroduction of those that we call the Anunnaki to the Earth, and the outright acknowledgement that there's extraterrestrial life out there. And yet, absolutely, it's not all malevolent. It's not all benevolent. There's everything out there. There's many that are indifferent, just curious, watching. We've never been alone. And, this is, again, part of the message we want to get across. In the other ages, we know this. It's just a given. The coming, the going of many different beings, different technology, way advanced compared to what we've been seeing all our lives. After this, the war that is really starting to kick off now is a key marker. That's what the guides have said. This is one of the big key markers. When we come out on the other side, everything is totally different. It's completely different. Yes, going towards that one world global society that is entirely on lockdown is really a preparatory stage for the return of the Anunnaki, who are controlled by AI, who are ultimately controlled by the Draco, and the Draco are controlled by the AI. And yeah, absolutely, when you look to them, they are the source of so much of our vampire legends. This is what they are. They are elitists. They are totally egoic. They have a superiority complex. When you look to the Babylonian Noah story and you go deeper, and they talk about granting immortality to Utnapishtim, who is again the Babylonian, Sumerian Noah, and that story predates the Bible by thousands of years. Again, the Bible is constructed by them for their benefit. It's how you maintain this illusion. Same thing with the Quran. Yet there's truths in there. If you poke around, you can feel there are some underlying truths in there that give you, glimpses of the bigger picture. Yet, absolutely, this is all about their reintroduction. But then what happens is when humans branch off and decide that there's some humans that are not going along with it, that opens the door up for others to come in openly and to help guide those humans that want to remain organic.
I mean, we're in such an important time to separate those energies. And if you're one that is so sensitive, you can feel the technology tapping at the atmosphere, you might get a little nauseous, you might be a bit dizzy, you might have a bad day, it might be emotional. Those that are waking up are going to have to separate from this technology, because really ultimately there's just no compatibility in it. The more we delve into the AI decision making for us and the AI taking over and the nanotech being in our bodies, if you're already sensitive, that's just not going to it's not going to be a good thing. You really have to separate yourself and be very deliberate about the steps that you take in becoming self-sufficient. And I think, there's so many different stories about the separation of energies. And one I remember very distinctly is the Pleiadians, the story of Earth. They talk about this separation of energies, and we're going through it now. So again, this is like it's a long-term thing. This is not, just hold on for one big hiccup. No, this this is going to take a while for that separation to occur. Evolution is a slow but beautiful thing.
Yeah, and again, you can personally ascend up to 5D. That is always a possibility. But as far as the planet and everything, it's going to be going back through the yugas. So, it's going to take some time. But obviously, it's going to be something that's completely needed. And it is going to lead to freedom and exploration and possibilities that humans don't have under this dark system. So we look forward to your guys' comments. Again, thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. If you need to make an appointment for energy work, for Vedic astrology charts, if you want to connect to your spirit guides, help with the ascension process, again, it's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. Much love, God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.